So the first time that we hung out together, we were both at the BCM, and I just kind of asked like the room in general if anybody wanted to go get coffee, and everybody else was studying or doing something, and so everybody was like, no, I'm okay. And then at that same time, JR walks in the front door, and and he was just like, yeah, sure, I'll go. And so we ended up going to get coffee and hanging out for a little bit.
So for our first date, I was working with Remix Education at the time, and I had to go to Rosa Parks Elementary School at like 6:30 in the morning to dance in the big green costume as kids came in for parent day. And so I asked her if she wanted to go with me, and I would take her to breakfast afterwards. What I didn't know at the time is that she does not like early mornings, and so picking her up at 6 o'clock in the morning was a big ask, but she said yes anyway, so that was good. I got in a big green costume and danced around in front of kids while she just kind of watched, so great first date all around to start. And then afterwards, we went to Great Bagel, and we just kind of talked and had a good time, and then I convinced her to skip class, and we went to the Arboretum, and we sat there and talked on a bench around the walking path, and it got to be 1 o'clock before we realized it, and it was super hot and we were sweating, and that was kind of our whole first date.
So for my 21st birthday, JR surprised me with some of my friends from Crossings, and Morgan and Colton came up for the weekend, and they spent the night with us, and then we went up to Cincinnati for the weekend. And first we went to my favorite coffee shop, Coffee Emporium. We went to a couple parks and just explored a little bit. We went to Jungle Gyms right before dinner, and then we came back and ended up actually having just IHOP before we made our way back. And the last stop that was super important to both of us was we stopped and got peanut butter milkshakes at UDF, because those are the best if you're in Cincinnati. And then when we got home, this day was so important because that is the first day that JR told me that he loved me. And we just had a really cool conversation about our relationship from that point forward.
Yeah, so I guess the next part of the story is kind of the engagement, and it's kind of a longer story because I tried to ask her dad to dinner like 4 times, and once he wasn't feeling good. The second time was Thanksgiving, and we had like a split second, but I wasn't quick enough to pull the conversation in, and eventually we were up there for a back appointment. We were hanging out. It was you and me, and we were taking care of the dogs that day, and your dad got back, and he was doing something outside. So I walked outside. I was like, hey, Harold, you want to go have dinner with me? And he was kind of like, yeah, and it was real quick. Conversation didn't last more than like 10 seconds. And then I met him and Tina at Longhorn up in Northern Kentucky, and I cried the whole way up there, like sobbing, like ugly cry. And I had to like get on the phone with some people to like calm me down. And so that was pretty tough. And I was shaking the whole dinner because they obviously knew what I was gonna ask. And I didn't really beat around the bush either. It was pretty early in the conversation. I just kind of blurted it out there that like I wanted to be a part of their family and marry their daughter. And so we went through the whole conversation, got their blessing, which was great, and I sobbed the whole way home, so it was just a big old cry night. So kind of the next part of the story is just kind of getting the ring, which went through Faithful Platform, phenomenal to work with, loved it, but because they're generally pretty custom, had to figure out what she wanted, and so talking with some of her friends, just doing a lot of looking at different rings for a couple of days, and then eventually just kind of pulled the trigger on one. Had to wait a couple of weeks for it to come in, and had the whole engagement set up. It was this big, not super elaborate, but big plan on how it was going to happen. And the ring got here a week earlier, and so I got it on like a Thursday or Friday, and decided I couldn't wait the extra week, and so moved it up 2 days, and had to figure out what else to do because the whole original plan hinged on lunch and the location, or on brunch and the location, and so the new plan couldn't. And so just kind of scrambled, got some help from her roommates at the time. They prepared the house, but I had to get her out of it. And she didn't want to go to dinner. And she was super adamant that she did not want to go out at all, which she probably knew, and she claims that she did. And she made it very, very difficult that evening. From not wanting to go to dinner to not wanting to get dressed up, because I knew she wanted to have fancy pictures for it. So I had to convince her of that. We finally get to dinner, which was a nightmare because I couldn't get us in any place because it was a Saturday night. Reservations were very tough. And then we get to dinner, and all she wants to do is play around with her ring and throw it in the air and terrify me because she's about to get a super nice ring and is being kind of careless with her other ones, which scared me. Enjoyed dinner, but at the same time, I've got the ring in my car and I'm having to hide it. And so obviously she like hugged me when I first got there, so I had to make sure it wasn't on my person and just the whole logistics of that. We get done with dinner and we finally go back to her apartment, and there were like candles and rose petals around and like lights and some music playing, and we danced for a minute and I asked her to marry me.
Did you ask?
I did ask. You say I didn't, but I did. They maybe weren't in as many words as you wanted, but I did ask. I said, because I kind of froze, I said, so you want to marry me? And she said yes.
My love, I am so excited to be your husband. You asked me why I love you, but the honest answer is because you're you. I love everything about you, all of it. I hope today is all you've dreamt of and more, and I know you'll be as beautiful as ever. I'm so proud of you and can't wait to see you finish school, become a PT, and let me come along for the ride.
James Ray. Oh my goodness, the day is finally here. Babe, we're freaking getting married today. I love you so, so much. You mean the world to me and are so incredibly special. You're such a big reason I am the person I am and pour into me so well. I know the last couple of months have been crazy, but you never failed to love me. You make me kind, confident, and teach me how to love better every day because you do each of those so well. Thank you. Babe, I'm so excited to become your wife today and spend the rest of our lives loving each other. I know you're going to be an amazing husband and one day an amazing dad. This is not because of how you have loved me so far, but because of how much, especially lately, you have pointed our relationship to Jesus and encouraged me to do the same. Your modeling of that has been such a blessing to me, how I have tried to follow your lead. Thank you for never giving up on me or giving into my emotions. You're the man I have prayed for, and getting to spend my forever with you is the sweetest honor. I love you so much.
Fire, baby, destined desire, baby. They call it fire, baby. That's what you do. My bitter heart was colder. You came and pulled me closer. Now I'm on fire, baby, like I was made to. I'm on burn for you. Only always for you. How do you know when you know? Me and all my friends are getting terrified, but if what we feel is almost real, I can see the answer looking in your eyes. Can you feel the friction? I'm on fire, baby, dancing desire, baby. They call it fire, baby. That's what you do. My bitter heart was colder. You came and pulled me closer. Now we're on fire, baby, like we were meant to. I'm on burn for you. Can you feel the friction? Can you feel it in my chest? We're on fire, baby.
Look at how cute that is, Daddy.
It's climbing high, baby.
You didn't even cry.
Just like a flower blooms, we're burning brand new. Yeah, we're on fire, baby, like we were made to. I'm on burn for you.
Look back here, Bethel. Oh, that's beautiful.
so pretty.
Very pretty.
So JR, I know we've been nervous. We talked it out in the bathroom. You know,
Yeah. What else?
stall buddies. No, I'm kidding. We weren't. We were just
I didn't say that. I didn't
just
say
getting
that.
dressed in there. I want to say on behalf of everybody that's standing up here with you guys that we just thank you for letting us be such a significant part of your day. And I think I can speak on behalf of all these guys and all these ladies and say to you that if we're willing to stand here on what is the second best day in your life, that there's not a day that we're not willing to stand with you in. And so for the rest of our days going forward, like you've got teammates standing up here with you. I want you guys to recognize that. And so through all of our itinerary, through all the stuff we've gone through today, we've looked forward to this moment. And that's when I get to say, by the power vested in me by the state of Kentucky, and ultimately by the gospel ministry of Jesus Christ, I now pronounce you husband and wife. And so JR, you get to kiss your bride.
I forgot you're going first. Oh well. All right.
Call it love, eternity. My angel, dancing on gold streets. Babe, you know that you're perfection. Kiss me slowly, so far. Memories of you last forever. Ooh, heaven. Ooh, heaven. You're heaven for my heart. You're heaven for my heart. Love, such a simple verb, a word that has to be seen just as much as it is heard. Yes, I'll choose you. Don't think that I won't, 'cause our hearts are meant to be together and each other's own. Oh, heaven. To believe in you is what I was made to do, and you plus me. Call it love, eternity. My angel, dancing on gold streets. Babe, you know that you're perfection. Kiss me slowly, so it will fire. Memories of you last forever. Ooh, heaven. Oh, ooh,
Today may be a great and exciting day, but I am so much more excited to see where our forever takes us. With you by my side, this new adventure is going to be so amazing, and I can't wait to learn how to be married alongside you. Contractually obligated best friends forever. I love you. Hope you enjoy your gift. With all my love, Bailey Jane.